Look, if you're the guy who's always fixing shit, then this is for you. You're the one who holds everything together, right? Whether it's at home, at work, when something breaks, you patch it. When someone's upset, you calm it. When the vibe's off, you carry it. You don't complain, you don't drop the ball, you just keep handling it. But here's the part that eats you alive. Nothing ever actually feels fixed. It looks like the problems just shift shape. You put out one fire and then there's another one that's already burning behind you. And no one ever really says thank you. You don't feel seen and you definitely don't feel at peace. And maybe you're starting to wonder, why the hell am I the only one holding all of this? Why does it never feel done? Why do I feel like the strong one but never the free one? So let's talk about that. Let's really look at how this happens, because you didn't choose this role consciously. You weren't just like, yep, I want to be the guy who never lets himself fall apart. But most men end up being the fixers, right? And it starts when you were young. You get the message either directly or subtly that your needs don't matter as much as everyone else's. Maybe your dad was present, maybe he was absent. He could have been physically there, but emotionally just cold or unpredictable. Or maybe it was your mum. Maybe she was just overwhelmed. Maybe she leaned on you. Maybe she made you her emotional husband. So you learned early, if I can just fix what's going on for everyone else, I'll feel safe. I'll be enough. You got used to scanning the room, feeling the tension before anyone even said a word, anticipating the blow up before it even happened. So you became hyper aware, hyper responsible. You grew up fast and you, people were praising you for that. You're so mature for your age. You're such a rock. You've always been the strong one. But what they are really saying was, thanks for carrying what I didn't want to. And no one stopped to ask, hey, are you okay? And now you're the guy who runs towards every fire the first time he sees it. You're the one who solves the work issue, smooths things over at home, picks up the slack, but deep down, you're exhausted. And part of you resents how invisible that it made you feel. Because the truth is, most men won't say this out loud, but fixing everything has become your way of proving you belong, of proving you're valuable, of holding the illusion of control. But let me ask you this. If you just stopped fixing for 1 week, would you still feel like a man? Would you still feel useful? Or would you feel lost? Maybe even worthless? That's how deep it runs, because fixing became part of your identity. And here's the most dangerous part. When your identity is wrapped in being the guy who saves everyone, you never get to feel saved yourself. You don't feel held, you don't feel seen, you don't feel led, you just feel necessary, which is good until you realize you're only necessary when shit's falling apart. And I'll tell you now, that's not leadership, that's just survival. So let's talk about what this role actually costs you, because on the outside it looks like, yeah, you've got it all together. You're dependable, you're respected, people can count on you, but inside you're tired, not just physically, but existentially tired. There's this quiet heaviness that sits on your chest most days, like you're carrying more than anyone else and no one's offering to take it off you. And here's what's wild. You probably don't even know how to receive help anymore. If someone offers to take something off your plate, you feel uncomfortable. You brush it off and you say, nah, it's all good, I've got it. Because the moment you're not fixing, you don't know what to do with yourself. That's what this role does. It convinces you that your value is in your utility. So if you're not actually doing something or solving something, putting out some kind of fire, you don't actually feel like you matter. And that shows up everywhere. Like, let's be honest, it's in your relationship. You're probably the guy who tries to solve her emotions. She brings something up and you just go into logic mode. Just do this. Well, let's figure it out. You don't realize she doesn't want to fix. She just wants to be felt. She wants to feel you. But you don't know how to sit in that space without trying to clean it up. So what actually happens is she starts feeling unseen, you start feeling unappreciated, and you both just drift. And instead of getting curious, you double down on solving again. Maybe you buy her something, plan a trip, do more effort, more fixing. But the disconnect, it isn't a logistical one. It's emotional, it's energetic. It's in your inability to just be, to stop managing and start feeling. And let's not even get started about how this plays out in your own nervous system, because when you're always on alert, always anticipating what needs fixing, you never truly rest. Even when you're still, you're on. Your body is stuck in fight or flight, even on the couch. And over time, that stress, that low-grade pressure you carry like a badge of honor, it becomes disease, burnout, numbness, sometimes rage. Maybe not the explosive kind, but the silent, simmering kind, the kind that leaks out in passive-aggressive comments, in checking out, in fantasies of running away, in porn, in workaholism, in those late-night YouTube spirals looking for something, anything that feels like truth. That's the cost. It's not just exhaustion. It's the erosion of your presence, your intimacy, your ability to be fully here without scanning the horizon for the next fire to put out. And the real tragedy is no one ever taught you how to not live that way. So you just think that's how it is, but it's not. And that's what I want to talk about next. Because the truth is that most men think that they're fixing out of love, out of strength, out of leadership. But when you slow it down, when you really just sit with it, fixing isn't always noble. A lot of the time, that's fear in disguise. Fear of what happens if you don't fix it. Fear of being useless, fear of being blamed, being abandoned, of the fear of the chaos that might follow you if you just stopped. Because if you're not fixing, then suddenly you have to feel. And that's terrifying for a lot of men, because you've been doing this for so long to avoid being. Like, you've kept yourself busy, like helpful and productive, so you don't have to face the parts of you that feel unworthy, the parts of you that feel unseen or unlovable unless you're adding value. Let that hit for a second. Because this pattern runs deep. It's not about helping others, it's about avoiding yourself. Because when things get still, that voice comes in, the one that says, you're not doing enough. You should be further by now. If you stop, they'll leave. If you rest, it'll all fall apart. And because that voice feels so unbearable, you just keep moving. You patch up the next hole. You clean up someone else's mess. You micromanage everyone around you. You're overfunction because feeling like you're not in control feels like death. So let me ask you this. Who's actually leading your life? You? Or the scared boy inside of you who's just trying to keep the peace? Because if we're honest, you're not leading, you're reacting. You're just playing emotional whack-a-mole with your life. You're not choosing, you're managing. You're not holding your frame, you're gripping it so hard that it's turning to dust. But real leadership, real masculine power, that's not reactive. It doesn't come from panic. It doesn't come from needing to fix every ripple. It creates calm. It holds chaos without becoming it. It lets things break if that's what truth demands. And that takes more courage than any fixer ever learns, because to get there, you've got to let go of the role that made you feel safe, this identity that got you this far, the illusion that if you just work harder and serve more and control more, you finally feel enough. But you won't. Fixing will never fill the hole. Only facing it will. So now that we've named it, we've talked about it, we've cracked it open, you see it now, right? The fixer isn't your power, it's your armor. So the question then becomes this. What's on the other side of that? What happens when you stop solving every problem? When you stop holding tension that isn't even yours? Because let me tell you, that's where your real strength begins. It's not in fixing, but in choosing, in creating, in leading from stillness. You have to let go of being the emotional janitor for the world. You're not here to mop up everyone's mess. You're not here to carry problems just so people will love you. That's the wounded man's game. That's survival. You're here to build, to lead with clarity, to say, this is what I want. This is what I stand for. This is the standard I hold. And that means learning to sit in the discomfort of not fixing, of letting people feel their consequences, of letting your partner be upset without scrambling to make it better, of letting your business wobble for a minute while you rest and reflect and recalibrate instead of just spinning into overdrive. And I get it. I've been there. It's not easy, especially when you've been rewarded your whole life for being the guy who handles. It can feel a little selfish, lazy even, but it's not. It's mature. It's powerful. That's leadership. You don't earn respect by reacting faster. You earn it by responding slower, by moving from vision, not urgency, by holding your frame when the whole room gets loud, by saying no when it's so much easier to say yes, by making people rise up to your standard instead of dragging yourself down to fix their chaos. And when you do that, everything shifts. Your partner starts to trust you more, not just rely on you, but trust you. She feels your spine, your edge, your presence, because you're no longer trying to win love. You're embodying love. You're being it, rooted, grounded, calm. Your team will feel it too. They stop dumping everything on you because they can tell you're not going to carry what isn't yours. You're there to guide, to empower, to set the tone. And you start to breathe again, like really breathe. You start to feel your body. You stop waking up in that fight or flight state where the first thought is, fuck, what do I have to deal with today? And instead, you start asking, what do I want to build? What am I here for? What actually matters? That's the shift. That's what it means to stop fixing and start leading. So now you know, you see the pattern, you see the cost, you see what's underneath it. You've been playing the fixer when what you actually crave is to feel free, to feel respected, to feel fucking peace. And maybe for the first time, you're realizing it was never actually about fixing at all, but it was about proving you're good enough, proving you're worthy, proving that if you just handle it all, they'll stay, they'll love you, they'll finally see you. But that's not love. That's performance. And you're allowed to lay it down. The mask, the cape, the armor, the endless pressure to be everything to everyone. You're allowed to stop fixing and just be still, present, clear, not passive, powerful. Because real masculine power, it's not loud, it doesn't scramble, it doesn't rush in to clean things up. It holds, it feels, it chooses with intention. So here's what I want to ask you. Where in your life are you still rescuing instead of leading? Where are you solving problems that were never even yours to solve? And where are you giving your energy just to feel needed when what you actually want is to feel valued? Sit with it. Don't rush to answer it. Don't go looking for the next quick fix. Let it breathe. Let the discomfort rise. Let the urge to help, to save, to patch pass through you, and then choose, not from fear, not from obligation, but from truth, because that's where your power is. And if you're sitting here thinking, fuck, this is me, this has been me for years, then good. You're not broken. You're just ready to upgrade your identity, ready to stop reacting to life and start owning it, ready to lead from depth and not exhaustion. And look, you don't need a 10-step program to get started. You just need a decision, a commitment to stop outsourcing your worth to how useful you are. So if this landed, take it with you. Bring it into your relationship. Bring it into your body. Bring it into your leadership. And if you want help anchoring this into your life, that's what I do. That's what this work is. But whether we work together or not, just don't go back to sleep. Don't numb this with busyness or distraction. You've been fixing for long enough. Now it's time to build. So that's it. That's the shift from fixer to man, from noise to clarity, from reaction to real leadership. And look, maybe no one ever told you this, but you don't have to earn your worth through usefulness. You don't have to be everything to everyone. You just have to be you, present and clear and anchored in truth. The world doesn't need more men who solve problems out of fear. It needs men who live from a deep place of power. Men who know when to step in and when to step back. Men who lead not because they're needed, but because they are ready. That's the kind of man you are. Even if you've forgotten, even if you're still finding your way back to him, he's still there. And he's waiting on you to remember. I'll see you tomorrow.